majority of the places across the country are abuzz with the Dasai festivities as the country's biggest festival, Dasai, kicks off tomorrow. However, the threat of COVID-19 looms large on the countrymen now more than ever before. As we cross the 121,000 mark with COVID-19 infections and death toll inches closer to 700, it is well advised to maintain maximum precautions to stem the spread of the dreaded virus. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. NHRC releases a list of over 200 individuals, including top brass leaders from the then CPN Maoists, with alleged involvement in cases of serious rights violation. 19 more deaths reported in the past 24 hours, taking the COVID-19 death tally to 694. Infection tally crosses 121,000 mark. France reports over 30,000 coronavirus cases ahead of a nighttime curfew in major cities as the virus resurges. And Kings 11 Punjab defeats Royal Challengers Bangalore by 8 wickets in the Indian Premier League. The National Human Rights Commission has released a list of individuals with alleged involvement in cases of serious human rights violation in the last 20 years in the face of the state's lack of action against the culprits. The Commission's list includes high-ranking security officials and bureaucrats who were earlier recommended action by the Commission, even as the violators of human rights have continued to enjoy general amnesty.
The National Human Rights Commission has shortlisted 246 individuals as human rights violators based on some 1,195 recommendations. Former Chief of Army Staff Pyarjang Thapa, former IGP of Nepal Police Kuber Singh Rana and former Secretary Naran Gopal Mallego have been enlisted in the report. The Commission has recommended action against former Army Chief Thapa for his involvement in incident of torture and forced disappearance of 43 individuals in Bhairabnath Battalion and Yuddha Bhairav Battalion during the insurgency era. Likewise, former IGP Rana has been named for his alleged involvement in the forced disappearance of individuals while he was the police chief in Dhanusha district. 98 officials from Nepal Police, 85 from Nepal Army, 65 from the then CPN Maoist, 16 from Civil Service and 8 from Armed Police Force have been enlisted in the report. Likewise, 4 teachers, 2 doctors, 1 human rights activist and other 7 individuals have also been listed in the report. Politicians who have been enlisted in the report are mainly grassroots cadres. The Commission in its report has informed that only 163 complaints linked with human rights violation have been addressed so far out of 940 complaints related to armed conflict and 255 other incidents of human rights violation. 445 recommendations have been partially implemented while remaining 587 have not been addressed at all. The Commission has criticized the government for the visible reluctance in taking action against violators. The Commission in its report has said that it was compelled to publish the list as the state has continued overlooking recommendations seeking action against the culprits. The Commission published the report accusing the state of thriving impunity in the country despite Nepal's re-election as a member of the United Nations Human Rights Council (UNHRC). The report has listed individuals who have been enjoying state facilities, indicating the country's lackluster judicial system, further denting Nepal's image in the international community.
Moving on, 3,749 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in the country in the past 24 hours, taking the total number of coronavirus cases to 121,745. Likewise, 19 more COVID-19 deaths were reported, taking the COVID-19 death tally to 694. According to the Health Ministry, a total of 16,598 swab samples were tested through the PCR method, taking the test tally to over 1.23 million. Out of the newly infected, 1,935 infected cases were reported from the federal capital. Kathmandu district alone confirmed 1,692 cases, Bhaktapur recorded 134 and Lalitpur 108. Meanwhile, 3,564 individuals registered full recovery in the past 24 hours, taking the national recovery tally to 84,518, while the recovery rate stands at 69.4%. According to the Health Ministry, there are over 36,000 active cases in the country, out of which 12,339 individuals are in isolation centres, while 24,194 are in home isolation. The ministry informs that 68 patients are receiving treatment in ventilators, while 694 are in ICUs. The ruling Nepal Communist Party has once again invited intra-party dispute as Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli restructured the cabinet on Wednesday. The faction led by Executive Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal has warned Premier Oli on his unilateral ways with the new appointments, while the Premier's faction has claimed that the recent move was for immediate appointment in vacant portfolios with possible complete cabinet restructure likely after the festive season. However, the recent political development has added fuel to the fire in the ongoing power conflict among the top brass leaders of the ruling party. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli appointed 3 new faces in his cabinet and changed the portfolios of 2 ministers on Wednesday. The decision, meanwhile, outraged factions led by Executive Chairman Dahal and Senior Leader Madhav Kumar Nepal. Both the chairmen earlier had not agreed on the cabinet restructure, although the standing committee meeting of the ruling party had assigned them to carry out directive by setting criteria. However, Prime Minister Oli appointed 3 ministers from his faction, while the Dahal-led faction was lobbying for total cabinet restructuring. Although Executive Chairman did not rule out on appointment of General Secretary Bishnu Podil as Finance Minister, he expressed his resentment against appointment of 2 ministers from the Oli faction. Likewise, the faction led by Executive Chairman Dahal and Senior Leader Nepal came down heavily on Prime Minister Oli for taking a decision on his own amid the political turmoil in Karnali province. Senior Leader Nepal was backing Leader Surendra Pandey to lead the Finance Ministry. Leader Pandey, in the meantime, rejected Premier Oli's proposal for another ministry. Premier Oli reshuffled his cabinet comprising leaders from his faction as he did not want to lose his confidants despite repeated demand from Dahal-led faction of complete cabinet restructuring. The power conflict between the chairman duo has been evident again as political analysts have hinted that the recent events could lead the party to a split, which somehow has been averted amid the political turmoil in the ruling party. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Parvat how can criminal activities thriving in the society like sexual abuses, acid attacks among others be controlled. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
सरकारले चाहिँ लाइसेन्स प्राप्त नागरिकहरूलाई मात्र एसिड बिक्री वितरण गर्यो भने यो केही मात्रामा कम हुन सक्छ।
नीति नियमहरू लागू भएछन् त्यो नीति नियमलाई पनि एकदम कार्यान्वयन गर्नुपर्छ।
मानिसमा चाहिँ घमण्डीपन धेरै भयो र घमण्डीले गर्दाखेरि यो अनैतिक व्यवहार हुन गएको छ।
हाम्रो सोचमा महिला अलि कमजोर हुन्, पुरुष अलि केही गर्न सक्छन् भन्ने मानसिकताले हामी ग्रसित छौं। त्यही भएर अपराधी खोज्नतर्फ लाग्यौं, यसको घटनाको न्यूनीकरणतर्फ लाग्न सकेनौं।
यसको लागि नीति चाहिँ कडाई गर्नुपर्छ।
पहिला त हामीले नैतिकतालाई र नैतिक शिक्षालाई महत्त्वपूर्ण ध्यान दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ। त्यस्तै चाहिँ हामीले सामाजिक सञ्जालको सही सदुपयोग गर्दै आफूले नजानेको नचिनेको मान्छेहरुसँग बढी सम्पर्कमा नआउने।
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why has action not been initiated against serious violators of human rights? Your options are A, used to impunity, B, no empathy for victims, and C, complicated issue. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.